Shout out to this. Well, listen, Bryce, Caleb, Aaron, Derek, and Jameis all stay where they are. Some because of a bye week, some because they didn't play poorly enough to drop down or well enough to move up. But shout out to Gardner Minshew, back being the starter. Listen, they didn't play great, but played well enough to get back on the mountain. And Anthony Richardson came back, played well, executed a comeback. He had some goofy plays, but also had a play with a guy draped all over him through a laser where you just see the, the potential upside. So there they are. Sixth row.
Can I ask you a question?
Okay, go ahead.
Are we supposed to apologize to the Colts for making the decision to bench him? Was that actually did it work out? I feel like we may.
No, I don't think the Colts earned our apology there because I don't think they were honest with us about it. It seemed like it came from on high, and then it was going to be Flacco, and then it wasn't, and whatever it is. All right.
No apologies.
Sixth row. Even in the win, Russ has to drop. That pick he threw was the worst non-Will Levis play of the NFL season, and he's played a little bit worse in each game of this 4-game winning streak. Brock Purdy has to drop. He played poorly. Kirk Cousins, worried about Kirk now. That Comeback Player of the Year award might be wide open because the two quarterbacks coming off the Achilles who are the huge favorites, one is everyone's getting fired but him and his best friends, and the other one can't move. I mean, Kirk can't move. Drake May stays where he is. Sam Darnold, quiet 8-2. But, staving off pumpkin mode as best as he can. And fair is fair. Bo Nix has earned a spot up the mountain. Do I believe in him long term? I do not. Has he played well enough to be a sixth row guy? He has. Fifth row, Jordan Love slowly but surely moving back up after a few full Will Levis moments himself, missed time, but he's moving back up. Baker was on a bye. He stays where he is. I didn't think CJ played great last night. I thought he played fine, but he's not going to drop him.
That's what he's been all
Right,
year.
that's kind of what he's been all year. My guy, Geno. I can't quit Geno, man. He's just out here making plays. His strong arm, muddy pocket, doesn't matter, running for game-winning touchdowns. First time in his career beating the Niners. Shout out Geno. And Tua, listen, I think he's playing an even more reckless brand of football than he's ever played. They're winning. He's playing better. He's looking kind of like the old Tua for good or for bad. Fourth row. Listen, man. Don't say I dislike Jared Goff just because I called him a civilian. I moved him up. Fair is fair. Coming fresh off, that's about as high as you can be fresh off a half-dozen interception game. He's a top 10 guy. Kyler on a bye stays where he is. Jalen stays where he is. Jaden had to drop a bit. We got to see now if Jaden's not going to be able to run the football. Because if he's not going to run the football, it's not that that's all that he does, but the passing numbers weren't so amazing that he was a top 5 guy. It was that plus the running. Third row, Lamar has to slip a bit. And I understand the arguments for Lamar. The arguments against Lamar seem to be also, though, made by the people who make the arguments for Lamar, which is the Ravens are better off when they don't let him throw the football, but he's the MVP of the league. I don't quite follow it, but he drops a bit. Justin Herbert almost moved up, but the top 3 is a very hard top 3 to crack right now, and my guy, Matt Stafford. Last 4 weeks out here dealing. Matt Stafford, 3-4. They're 3-1 in the last 4 weeks. 10 touchdowns, 3 picks. After a shaky start to the season, looking like the old Matt Stafford. And now, what everyone's waiting for. What movement is there at the top? Well, we know Lamar's dropped down. Let's show row 2. Josh Allen moves up in place of Lamar. Joe Burrow stays where he is. Oh, you want me to drop Joe Burrow after Sunday Night Football? Yeah, Joe Burrow should have done more. Execute 21-point comeback.
No, they have 3 and out. Yeah, 3 and out.
When did he go 3 and out?
When the game was on the line. He
They got him in field goal range twice with the game on the line. You got him in field goal range twice with the game on the line. The kid who made the clutch kick in Kansas City hasn't made a clutch kick since then. Blame it on him. Joe Burrow's playing great. I'm not going to hear it. Josh Allen deserves to move up. He's everyone's MVP. And then there's top of the mountain. So what is it going to take to dethrone Patrick Mahomes? The same thing it took last year. We're going to need a stretch of football where Mahomes and the Chiefs were. I can't knock him off his namesake mountain when he still has the best record in the entire NFL, when he is still playing as well in the fourth quarter as any player in the league. I'm not going to do it. Now, if they start losing games, if he drops, so be it. That's what happened last year. But that right now, Greg,
That is so hilariously absurd because you can't say, oh, they have the best record or this or that. We know that's nonsense because Joe Burrow does not have a top record in the NFL, and yet he's still top 3. So you can't use that as a selling point as to why Patrick Mahomes is at the top of the mountain. Doesn't make any sense. It makes absolutely no sense. And again, Nick Wright loves to do these head-to-heads because he was like, Mahomes is the top of the mountain because he hasn't lost since, since December, since Christmas of last year. Well, they lost. And who beat them? Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen deserves to be at the top of that mountain. No doubt about it. Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow deserve to be 1 and 2. And Mahomes should be on that 3rd level. Okay? That's the way how it actually should be right now. But yeah, Bo Nix should probably also be higher as well, too. We shot Jaden Daniels up. Jaden Daniels shot all the way up to being, what was he, on the 3rd row? I think it was the highest that he got. Bo Nix is on an absolute heater. If you offered that to Jaden Daniels, then you have to offer that to Bo Nix, okay? And seeing Jordan Love and CJ Stroud on the same level as Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith, no. Come on, man. No. And I love Jaden Daniels, but I can't put Jaden Daniels above Jordan Love right now. I know Jordan Love has been a little inconsistent, and he made a bad throw for the Packers against the Bears, but the dude makes such unbelievable throws. There is not a single throw that guy cannot make. I mean, it's wild what Jordan Love can do. I know he's a little unrefined and a little loose. I get that. But the dude is a baller. People are still sleeping on just how great Jordan Love is, honestly. And I think this season got derailed a little bit with some injuries. Of course, he's not 100%. Tom Brady has talked a lot about that with kind of what's been going on with Jordan Love. And you just kind of start to lose a little bit of trust. And considering this is his 2nd year as being a full-time starter, I think a lot of that has kind of stacked against him to give him kind of this a little bit of an uneven season. But the dude's talent is clearly through the roof. He needs to grow from a game manager standpoint. But in terms of a game breaker and playmaker, I mean, the dude's a monster. He really is. So I can't put him on that level of Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith. And I'm excited for Tua for rising, right? I am cheering for Tua big time. I will make no secret about that. I want to see that guy succeed. It is always uncomfortable to watch him in any given moment. I'll be honest with you. But like Colin Cowherd has the Miami Dolphins as a top 10 team. It'll be interesting if they'll be able to find themselves into the playoffs. Seems unlikely considering how the wild card is shaping up, especially when you have the division with the Chiefs, the Broncos, and the Chargers, and the amount of wins that they have. Seems like it'll be a little too late for Tua and the Miami Dolphins. But yeah, I mean, it's not like that this is like the worst mountain, because the truth is like, we can see the show, right? You see Herbert and Burrow just absolutely balling out, going head to head against each other, and seeing only one of those quarterbacks can win. And you can't necessarily say it's because Justin Herbert was the better quarterback on Sunday night. Like, that's not necessarily how that game unfolded. I mean, Justin Herbert's obviously a top quarterback in the NFL and is truly special as well. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of funny that we just kind of pass over, right? Patrick Mahomes throws 2 interceptions, and as JCT Slice put it, he goes, it's pretty fitting that Patrick Mahomes throws an interception on the final drive to end their win streak, when Nick Wright constantly rips quarterbacks for throwing interceptions on the final drive. And to have Patrick Mahomes do it, it's like, well, yeah, what are you going to do? There's 4th down. You got to try your best to do something. And it's like, well, that's the case for all of these other quarterbacks. So, yeah, not the worst mountain, but of course, certainly not the best or the most accurate.
Jennings, is Mahomes Mountain heading into Week 12?
Well, shout out to Wiles for an amazing open. I think that was one of your best performances. Oh, wow. I gotta give you that. This mountain, I'm disappointed. I'm so very disappointed, but I'm not shocked. Mahomes Mountain should be Allen's Alpine.
Oh, Alpine.
Like that's
Alpine. Allen's Alps.
No, Alpine.
Like a speaker.
Yeah.
Alpine. And this is why. Because a couple weeks ago, or a while back, someone on this show tried to move Josh Allen up.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't even want to explain it. Let's just take a listen to what happened when Allen tried to get moved up, and let's hear it. Our friend Nick had to say it.
Of course, he's going to stay on the top of the mountain. When he's the two-time defending Super Bowl champion and he hasn't lost since Christmas, he's going to stay on the top of the mountain. We are just a week removed from him having, from a completion percentage perspective, what was it, Wilds? The worst game in NFL history. Yeah. I mean, it was 1 week ago. Okay. I don't see anything there that makes me
no. Well, because now we're 6 weeks removed.
And he moved up. He was a row 3 guy, now he's a row 2 guy.
And what you also...
You want to skip steps?
And what you also said in that was, you know, the last time Mahomes has lost is Christmas, and then blah, blah, blah. Well, guess who beat Mahomes?
The guy who Nick said was going to beat him, Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
Said it all year, bro.
And when we look at his numbers since that Week 5 performance, this is what it looks like. We don't even... You know what? I don't need that. We don't need to compare the two. We know Josh
lost at Texans.
But this is who he's been. 6-0 is this team record. Points per game, almost best in the league. Like completion percentage, everything is just trending to the point of where he's been the best quarterback playing right now. And might I add, one of the requirements that we typically have is, okay, has Patrick Mahomes lost? I was with you. No, you can't knock him when he doesn't lose. But he lost, and he lost to the guy that he got outperformed by that guy.
Right. So here's the thing, which is why if Allen had been a row 2 guy already, he might have moved up. We're not skipping steps. What are we doing? All right, you know what? I'll make you a deal. Cross my heart, swear to the audience and to you, Greg Jennings. Unless Mahomes has a vintage Mahomes game this week, and that means I'll put numbers on it. At least 300 yards, at least 3 touchdowns in a substantial win. If Josh Allen wins this week, he'll be atop the mountain.
That's fair. Take that.
No matter what he does?
No matter what.
Okay. Who's this?
They're on a bye.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead. Sorry. This is fair. Look, and you know on a bye, you're locked into place. So Allen's going to have to wait a bit. It's
Greg Jennings, you made a great argument. But look, what are we doing? Lamar Jackson should switch places with Joe Burrow.
Thank you.
I mean, what? One bad game? How many bad games has Mahomes had? How many bad games? Allen had one of the worst games in history.
How many bad games Joe Burrow had? He's the guy you're moving now.
He's had a few.
He has?
You don't lose to New England unless you played poorly.
Week 1 was his one bad game.
It's this season. Here, let me count the ways that Lamar should be with.
Yeah.
They both have bad defenses.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear that as an excuse. They both got bad defenses. Who's got the best receiver by a mile of the two teams? Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase. Might have the 2 best. Good point, with T. Higgins. All right, and yet Burrow is also playing a 4th place schedule. All right, Lamar's playing a 1st place schedule, so a much tougher schedule he's playing. His numbers are, passer rating better than Burrow's by a significant margin, even though he doesn't have 117 to like 112.
That's not a significant margin.
It's
significant. 1 and 2 in the league.
Significant.
Isn't it 1 and 2 in the league?
Yeah, but it's a nice cushion there.
4%.
All right? Lamar ain't feeling him at all. Where's he at? Where's the second guy? All right, anyway, Lamar's beaten Burrow twice, and they both played well. Not kinda. He beat him twice. They both played great. Burrow, this has to matter. 0-6 against teams with winning records.
Well, that seems like something.
That seems like something. I mean, they're good when they play the chumps and the tomato cans.
They're pretty good against Baltimore.
What, they're 0-2.
That's not Burrow's side of the ball. They're averaging 37
Lamar ain't
points
got
a game.
no defense either. That's the thing. He got the worst pass defense in the league, and yet Burrow couldn't capitalize. Lamar could. All right, Lamar's 3-2. I'm laying it out thoroughly because
laying out all these team
Lamar's
stats.
3-2. Oh, here's an individual stat. Burrow had.
It's funny that Nick says that. These are team stats, and it's like, well, why don't we ever do the team stats for the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes? We know the answer why. But I just want to interject real fast, and I'll let the rest of the clip play. But to try to pull down Joe Burrow is obviously not the reason. That's why I hate this whole wins and losses as a quarterback stat. Or, they're 0-6 against winning teams. It has nothing to do with Joe Burrow. Nothing to do with Joe Burrow. Was Russell Wilson the reason why the Steelers beat Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens? Does anyone feel that way? Because right now we can say Russell Wilson's 1-0 versus the Ravens this year with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it doesn't really make sense. It makes no sense. Joe Burrow is balling out. Absolutely, positively balling out. Dude, are people even watching these games? It feels like they're not. He's not the reason for their record. He's not the reason for their failures. What do you want to do? Yes, he's got a great wide receiver, and he is throwing pinpoint perfect balls to them. We're going to act like Lamar Jackson doesn't have Derrick Henry? So, let's stop. And again, this isn't meant to bring down Lamar Jackson. Because I told you Lamar Jackson should be up there on the level as Burrow. Allen should be one, and Mahomes should be down for this season. For the rich tapestry. So this is not meant to bring down Lamar in any kind of way, but we don't have to bring down Burrow to elevate Lamar. That's where I take issue.
Has 3 games under 90 passer rating. Lamar only has 2. Burrow has 0 games over 140 passer rating. Lamar has 3. I mean, come on. A week ago, not even a week ago, Lamar was the unanimous MVP.
Yes, and
now he has 1 bad game.
It's not one. So here's the thing.
And then he moves.
It's not
come
one
on,
bad
there's
game.
no way.
He has not moved down because of the bad game. He has moved down because of the damning with faint praise by his most ardent defenders. Like, I can't say, when the Bengals lose, nobody says, you know what they did wrong? They let Joe Burrow throw you know what, they put the game in Joe Burrow's hands. Yet all of the biggest Lamar defenders I know, whether it's
that's Burrow doesn't have freaking Derrick Henry in the backfield.
Okay, well,
believe me, you would be hearing a lot of why didn't they give it to Henry if indeed they wouldn't if he had him in Cincinnati.
Counterpoint,
no question.
Derrick Henry was not on the Ravens last year, and all I hear about the AFC Championship game is why didn't they give the ball to the running backs there? So if the biggest if the biggest Lamar Jackson supporters feel like the Ravens lose when they give the ball to Lamar Jackson, I can't have him above Joe Burrow when the Bengals' only path to win is give the ball to Joe Burrow.
Nick, what turned the Bills season around last year and has been the case for the most part this year?
He's firing the offensive coordinator.
Well, and what did Joe Brady do, the offensive coordinator? He said,
Take the ball out of
Josh, we're going to throw it less.
Yep.
We're not going to throw it as much. Not throwing nearly as much as he has in the past, and he's been better. And that's if you want to use that against.
No, that's not fair. And again, I'm all for having these quarterbacks throw less because, again, Patrick Mahomes has won massive games by throwing less and relying on the run game and whatnot and defense and situational football. So I believe that. But Josh Allen is why they beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They weren't like, oh, hey, we need him to throw less. He had to make huge throws. And then when it was 4th and 2 or 4th and 3, whatever it was, he's the one that picked up that 4th down to then score a touchdown. That was Josh Allen's brilliance, okay? That was on Josh Allen. So you can't say like, oh, they beat the Chiefs because they asked him to do less. No, they needed him to be that dude, that Superman.
Lamar, use it against Josh.
Okay, except when the Bills lose, we don't all
because they got nobody else.
Right.
They got nobody else.
Okay. So listen, I think Joe has more responsibility for that team than Lamar does. And I think that if we are going to talk about the Derrick Henry piece of it, then the Derrick Henry piece of it has to be factored into the record between the two of them. Go ahead, Wilds.
What?
Wild's 2-point
I don't know if
conversion
that's
thing was
you
the
or
ultimate
me.
thing.
Oh,
I'm 100%
You're with me?
No,
He's
he's with you. He's with
I
you.
wasn't
There
sure.
are plays in every
yesterday-
Bengals game that Joe Burrow does not make that we have to just pretend to ignore because he has a great game.
Because they scored 35 points?
It's not enough, dude. That's not how it works. He didn't score enough. At the
guys
end of
told
the
me
game,
yesterday-
when you're gunning the ball and it's like you need 2 yards, what are you doing?
You guys
Then you're punting away and Justin Herbert wins the game.
You guys told me yesterday Lamar did enough to beat the Steelers. They scored
He did.
16 points.
He didn't. They lost the game.
Wilds was saying he didn't do enough.
He didn't do
I
enough.
said
He had
did
2-point
enough.
conversion. He didn't do enough.
He said he didn't do enough.
I would have had Derrick Henry up there.
Go ahead.
I'll tell you who is
I
doing
assume
enough.
this is a Bo Nix segment.
No, this is Jared Goff.
What?
What do you want Jared Goff to? Here's how bad the Jacksonville Jaguars are. You can throw 4 touchdowns against them, have a perfect passer rating, and beat them by 46 and barely move up the mountain.
He moved up the mountain. What?
Not enough. What do you want this team to do? Super Bowl faves. Jared Goff should switch with Matthew Stafford. It's a little bit, maybe it's a
Thank you. I agree
Patriots
with
compliment. Matthew Stafford lit up the Patriots defense because no one wanted to decide to put Christian Gonzalez on Cooper Kupp or Puka. Didn't make any sense to me. Nobody wants to listen to me from the second deck. Raw stats, Jared Goff, how's he doing? Great,
crushing.
obviously.
Wow.
And stomping teams, too. You know what? I like a little bit of attitude. Oh, I'm playing okay. I'm doing enough to win. Not me. Stomping guys. Oh, a 12-round decision. Oh, I'll get there. No, first-round knockout.
I'm with you.
That's what I like.
that. Wow.
Old Mike Tyson, not Mike Tyson showing his behind. Mike Tyson putting guys on their behind.
There you go. There you go. I like it.
You got more?
I got 3.
Keep it
All right,
going,
keep
Wild.
talking about
I'm
Mike
with you.
Tyson's behind.
Go
You
ahead.
got me rolling. I'm in stitches over here.
I know he had one bad game. These interceptions weren't horrible. One was a Hail Mary. I'll take that off the board. So you take the Houston game out, and every other game he's just dominating. Also, how did the Houston game go in the end? They won the game. So he did enough to win the game, which is what I like. You can't not do enough and then lose. And finally, you lit him up with a very damning
I called him a civilian.
That was mean. It was mean-spirited.
It wasn't mean-spirited.
Well, it set the internet on fire.
Okay.
Because you said he wasn't a superhero. And everyone's lighting all my Detroit Lion friends, which I have one, says, you know who else is civilian? Tom Brady!
No,
Although he was
Tom
called
Brady
handsome.
Tom Brady has superpower,
What was
accuracy
it?
and clutch, just like Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is the superhero in the build of Tom Brady, accurate and
Let's
clutch.
not compare Joe Burrow with
No, I'm just saying neither one of them has
Brady being
superhero
4-7.
physical traits, but they play like a superhero. Okay, here's the deal.
He's second in completion. First of all, Jared Goff is second in completion percentage.
Yes,
he's
he's
had
very
several
accurate.
perfect games.
Yeah,
So if you wanna say
he's
superhero.
been unbelievable.
Anyways.
Which is why he moved up the mountain.
I know, but remember in the pressure, he couldn't pressure. Oh, he's small hands, he gets nervous, but now he's playing great. So his one flaw, all of a sudden, he leads the NFL in all the stuff that he was actually really bad at.
Yeah,
what I said yesterday.
that water will find its level on, I guarantee you. But
Buddy,
here's
we're like nearing the playoffs.
Right, but the other one is one is a 10-game sample, the other is his whole career with the Lions. So I think water will find its level on that. It's also very interesting you're doing Goff versus Stafford. Greg, what do you think would happen if those two guys, like, I don't know, something crazy, like got traded for each other? Do you think one guy's team would instantly win the Super Bowl while the other guy's team would build towards it? I don't know. That's a fun thought exercise.
How's it playing out now?
Well, let's see how it plays
What team
out.
has a better
That
future
was
right
3
now?
years ago.
If I told you one team won 2 Super Bowls, which team? Thank you.
What do you mean one team won 2 Super Bowls?
The story on the Stafford Goff trade is not a closed book.
No, I agree.
This is an open story, and I think by the time we get to the end of this story, they're like, "Ooh, I'm surprised."
Okay, so
The Rams did
that's
that.
a bet we can make. I'll make it
saying
with
the
you right
Lions
now.
won 2.
Who is more likely to win 2 Super Bowls with their team? Stafford with the Rams or Goff with the Lions?
Well, if the Lions win this one, you think then Stafford
that
will
bet,
have
Bob.
a shot at winning one before the Lions do?
Here's what I think. I'm not chalking this one up for the Lions yet,
I'm
but
not
if you
either.
want to,
But they're favorites.
yeah, that's fine. I would love to make that. I think it is far more likely Stafford wins another Super Bowl with the Rams than Goff wins multiple with the Lions. That is a bet I would love to take.
He got
But
a
that's
Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm. That's why
well,
you said
from
2.
behind.
You said 2. Listen.
Play the trump card.
What's the trump card?
I don't even know
Go
what
ahead
it
and
is.
say it.
I don't even know what it is.
What is it?
Jaquaski Tart.
I wasn't ready for that. That's more your
It's over. Jaquaski Tart.
Quasky Tart.
That's it. Then now you gotta slow down.
Yeah.
Now you gotta slow down.
Yeah, slow
All
down.
right,
Nobody
that's
knows
all
what
I'm
you're
saying.
talking about.
Yeah, Jaquaski Tart.
Should have had that interception in the NFC Championship game. Stafford would not have.
If the Lions had Stafford right now, they would be the actual best team in football.
Well, you know what? Matthew Stafford had plenty of time to make it work, and he couldn't.
Yeah,
Slow
and
down on
then
the
he went to
Matthew
Goff's
Stafford.
team and instantly
Yeah,
made it work.
Nick, you have to bail on your team to win the Super Bowl,
struggled
sure.
without his Avengers, Puka Nakua
Yeah,
and Cooper
he
Kupp.
did, but they're back now,
Right.
and he's rolling.
All right.
Yeah,
He didn't look
and
he
Goff's
looked
got all
worse than my man
his
Purdy.
guys, and everybody. Let's just see how it plays out.
Yeah, let's see how.
All right. That was definitely one of the more interesting mountains for sure. There was a lot of meandering, a lot of issues, whether it be Goff, whether it be Josh Allen. Pretty much said my piece, throughout. So there's really not a whole lot to add. I think Goff, as I've said now in many recent clips, so I don't want to just rehash that all again, but Goff will always be underappreciated and underrated when you're on such a stacked team like he is. And again, that's why I keep telling Detroit Lions fans, it's a great problem to have. Like, you shouldn't even be mad. Honestly, you should be like, yeah, that's right. That's how great we are. That's how great our coaching is, how great our offense is. Like, we are so elite, so legit, so stacked that you think that any quarterback can step in and do this. And that it's a great place to be. It really, really, really is. And so it's like, don't even be mad about it, quite frankly. And you got people talking about that the Lions are going to win not one but multiple Super Bowls. So yeah, I mean, obviously we know Nick still thinks that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. I'm hoping we get new teams in the Super Bowl, just from just a pure entertainment standpoint, quite frankly. But yeah, I mean, it is interesting that Goff just does not get that love. And I think that's what's so fascinating to me, because you have certain quarterbacks, we know the names already, I don't have to name them, but we have certain quarterbacks who can have great weapons, great coaching, whatever, and they put up great numbers, and we say it's because of that quarterback. And then when those quarterbacks don't put up great numbers, we say, well, what do you want him to do? His weapons are injured. Of course he's not going to have great numbers. He's got no run game. He's got no O-line. He's got no blah, 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 blah. And this is about many quarterbacks. I'm not just talking about Mahomes. I'm talking about this is for many quarterbacks. But then when you have a quarterback like a Jared Goff, who's now playing great, playing awesome, he's on a great team, obviously, but they don't want to give him any credit. Then they'll say, well, look, he can only do this with the Avengers, which is what they kept saying about Brock Purdy. And again, like I keep showing you all, and this will probably be the last time I show it. This was before the Kansas City Chiefs Bills game. But we can see these very average numbers, and yet they were still undefeated through that season. And obviously you can see what Tom Brady did on the right. And yet people said, well, they keep winning, and that's all that matters. And it's like, but we know that it wasn't necessarily because of Patrick Mahomes. Throwing 9 interceptions in as many games is a problem. Right? Especially if we're going to call out like a Jared Goff for throwing his interceptions. And if we say, well, hey, he threw those interceptions and found a way to win, shouldn't that matter then? Like, if we're going to offer that to Patrick Mahomes. So we never have consistent conversations when it comes to quarterbacks. No one gives Joe Burrow the benefit of the doubt. They said, oh, 35 points wasn't enough. It's like, well, it should be enough. I mean, his field goal kicker should be able to make field goals and extra points and all of that. He should be able to have a run game that he can hand the ball off to. Lamar Jackson should have better coaching and game plans than whatever the heck the Ravens do. So it's just, we give the benefit of the doubt to some quarterbacks we like. To other quarterbacks we don't like, we don't give the benefit of the doubt. And when they play well, if we like the quarterback, we go, see, that's how great the quarterback is. And if we don't like the quarterback, we say, no, he's only doing that because he's on a great roster. So it's always just pick your poison, man. Pick your own adventure. Pick whatever you want to feel. These things never change anyone's opinions when you look at it through a biased lens. That's why you have to really be honest about what you're evaluating, regardless of the outcome and regardless of the roster. We can say something like Patrick Mahomes has not the weapons that, say, Jared Goff has, but he still has been playing poorly. He's been playing good at moments and great at moments and has done enough to win in certain games, but he has not been playing anywhere near as well as we know him to be, and that has nothing to do with the weapons around him. We could say that his numbers would be better and he would have greater highs with better weapons around him, but it doesn't change the pure fact of like the decisions that he's making, the throws that he's making, right? Like that's what I'm trying to get at. And we can say that about Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar, Herbert, Stafford, Goff, every quarterback. It's why I praise someone like Baker Mayfield for playing pretty well, despite, missing a ton of weapons. and I'm definitely not a Baker. No one can say that I'm a big Baker homer. And I criticize someone like a Dak Prescott for playing poorly with a lack of weapons. Praising someone like a Hurts, a Goff, Purdy for maximizing their weapons, right? Like it's all of these things can be true at the same time. And you can also criticize Hurts for not playing well enough with injured weapons, or Brock Purdy, right? Like it's all game to game, week to week. But I do know that Jared Goff obviously does not get the benefit of the doubt. He gets the short end of the stick. And I think until he wins a Super Bowl, and even then, even if he wins a Super Bowl this year, people still won't give him the flowers that he deserves. But they still see him as the fundamental problem for why the Rams didn't win. They just switched Stafford, which is such a lie. It's a lie. They added OBJ, who balled out to win that Super Bowl. They added Von Miller. They added pieces, concrete pieces. It wasn't just a one-to-one trade where the only difference in teams was Goff and Stafford. And Sean McVay himself admitted that he was a problem in that Super Bowl with Jared Goff. That he like kind of outcoached himself. That he got in his own way. And no, I don't think that was just kind of generic, like, well, what do you want a coach to say? A good coach is going to take responsibility for it, which is true, but I think it was honest evaluation. Sean McVay earlier in his career made some questionable decisions. I remember specifically against the 49ers, like he had a couple questionable go for it on fourth downs, as well as challenges. And I think even in the broadcast, I think this was either to like get into the playoffs or it might have been a playoff game. I forget exactly, but I just remember specifically the commentators were like, this feels like this is desperation from Sean McVay. Like, why is he throwing the challenge flag? He's clearly not going to win it. And that's on Sean McVay. So Sean McVay had to grow and mature as a head coach as well. And again, I think Sean McVay is an unbelievable coach, but he still has to grow and learn and get better as well throughout his career. So you can't just put all the blame on the lack of Rams Super Bowl success on Jared Goff. Just not fair. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Allen's Alpine? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.